In this episode, Sienna and I have a pretty wild conversation all about raising our standards in life and health, relationships, all in a healthy and in a feel-good kind of way. We talk about what prevents us from raising those standards. We quote the Declaration of Independence on it. We quote Jesus on it. It gets kind of wild. And of course, we share examples from our own lives.
I'm Sienna.
And I'm Toast.
We've been partners in life, love, and music since 2001. And we believe life is best lived as a love story. Your love story.
After all, to love well is to live well. For more, check out siennaandtoast.com. But for now, here's this episode. Here we are. Here's this episode.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome
to the podcast.
The curtain, imagine the curtain has just been pulled back and here we are on the stage doing a little tap dance. Hello.
Isn't it funny how your voice will go up? Like what
when
is
you're
up with
uncomfortable?
That? Is it? But then why do
when
we do it with animals? Like, oh, hello, you're so cute.
Or babies.
Yeah.
You never talk to a baby like, hey, baby.
That's a different kind of baby,
Yeah.
I think. But
Hey,
anyway.
baby.
That's gross, actually.
That's really gross.
Anyhow, thank you for joining us. Hope you find something valuable in this episode of Raising Your Standards. But before we get to that, we realized that in last week's episode, we forgot to give you a date update. And I got to be honest here, I think in terms of raising our standards, it's time to kind of bump up our standards for our dates.
Yeah.
I think the thing for Toast and I is we just spend so much time together.
And we're both more private, introverted type of, we're happy without doing crazy things.
Yeah,
like
I mean, I think
climbing a mountain or
okay,
traveling
I think
the world. I mean, I would love
to.
to, but
Toast and I both have Taurus in our charts and Cancer in our charts. So it's like Cancer and Taurus astrologically are the signs that are really like to be home.
Well, there we go.
You know, like you just enjoy being at home. And I think that sometimes that can get in the way of dates unless we figure out stuff to do at home. But because we work from home, it's like we're always home. So
boring.
Anyways, we
so
got
boring.
We have to raise our standards. But I do have to say that I think I'll give a very valid excuse. I think because that cold I caught on New Year's, that darn cough that's been kind of just hanging around, and then I think they left and they came back around and I find out they're still here. It's like, I think that's been,
I blame
interfering
that as well.
with our process here. So anyways, our last date, we decided we're like, we need to get out of the house. We don't have to go and do a hike. We don't have to go and
go into a nature preserve,
buy a ticket somewhere and be a part of something that takes the whole day. We don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. What do we want to do? Let's just do something enjoyable that can be for a couple hours and come back home. So one of the things that I love that I mentioned in the podcast before is the Renaissance bookstore out here in Portland. And it just is so fantastic because they have every spiritual book you can imagine. They have a ton of crystals. They have, oh my God, you know what I love there?
They don't have an animal.
No.
Okay. They don't have
But I
a
would
shop
have an
pet.
animal.
Yeah, that would that.
Oh gosh, I would
shop
always
pet.
be there. A shop pet that is out.
Right.
Remember Annie Bloom's books?
Yeah.
She wasn't out. But anyways, Renaissance Bookstore probably has the best selection of high quality chocolates.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They have every high quality chocolate, and whatever your preference, or if you have any dietary restrictions, whatever they might be, I bet you will find a chocolate bar for you.
Wow. Okay.
At Renaissance Bookstore.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So we walked around this little area. What is that area called? Lovejoy?
The Alphabet District?
Is it?
23rd, right?
Yeah.
I think, anyway.
That's what we did. We walked around. We went there. We got a coffee. We intended to also visit a chocolatier out there, found out they had closed. So we ended up going to the one near our house. And I know this is like a chocolate episode, I'm realizing, because I'm highlighting the chocolate moments. But anyways, Portland is, I guess they're known for coffee, but they're also they have a lot of chocolatiers out here.
Yes. Yep.
So if you have been to a Portland airport, you have probably seen the Moonstruck store where you can buy a beautiful box of chocolates to take home. And these chocolates are not cheap.
Oh my God, they're
These
the opposite of
chocolates are so
cheap.
expensive. To me, I think they're expensive.
Yeah.
It's like one piece is between $4 and $6.
It's a small piece.
It's a very small piece. But so anyways, we have seen these chocolates around, but it's like, I'm not going to spend, $40 on a box of chocolates to just taste one.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So we decided, let's go to the chocolate shop and try one.
And where
two.
you can buy just
three.
one.
Yes. And I actually wanted to buy a cute chocolate for one of my friend's daughters, her birthday. We're sending a birthday gift, and I wanted to put a little chocolate in there. So anyways, we went. The chocolate did not disappoint at all. But this is like your mainstream in terms of like you can't find your dietary restriction chocolate there.
It has sugar. It has
sugar.
real milk.
It has all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they do have different like dark versions, and they have white chocolate, all the different types in that sense. But why you want to buy Moonstruck chocolate is these chocolates are so beautiful.
Yeah, you want to look at them. Mm-hmm. It's
But
kind
they
of
tasted
like
good.
It's kind of like Japanese food. It's small, very small, petite portions, and very delicate, intricate
Designs.
visuals. Yeah, the way it's prepared is very meticulously prepared. So it's all about the presentation and what it looks like, which is
it's
fun and
so
beautiful. It's
beautiful.
inventive, it's creative, it's inspiring in that way.
They have some super classy designs, and then they have downright cute designs. And what we ended up getting our friend's daughter to add to her gift was a super cute puppy dog shaped chocolate.
So cute.
So cute.
Kawaii.
So super, super cute.
Yeah.
So anyways, Moonstruck delivers. So anyways, that's what we did
Yeah. Super
for
simple.
our date.
Super simple.
And I look forward to feeling 500% healthy and
Then
doing more
we'll
things.
do more things.
I think also too, I have to say that the weather
Yeah.
also affects,
It's
that,
a cozy
that feeling
kind
of like wanting to go out or not. Like
right.
I'd rather be in the house.
Especially if you've been under the weather, so to speak, especially if you've been sick and are still recovering from a cold and still have a lingering cough. It's like, yeah, you want to feel cozy
It's just the Mr. Cough.
and warm and bundled up. And so, yeah, that is our date update. Not super exciting, but, we're all at different levels and we're all trying.
The point is that we kept the date.
That's right.
Yeah. And we also did see a few movies at home too.
Oh, yeah.
I'll throw that in there. Like we saw, what was the Hollywood movie?
Oh, Once Upon a Time
Yes.
in Hollywood.
Yes. We saw that. We also saw The Favorite.
Oh, my God, yes. With
which
Emma Stone.
is just twisted, but it's a great ride. It is a great ride. So we did see some movies at home.
And we actually went to the movie theater because that's the only way that we wanted to see the final installment of the Star Wars Skywalker saga.
Oh, yeah.
So we
that's
did
true.
see that in January.
Yeah. Was that our January date?
Yeah, it was one of them. But, I think what both you and I have a strength in is in really appreciating the everyday moments and really knowing that that's where real life actually happens. It's like, yeah, we can plan extravagant vacations and the grand gestures and we can have these huge fireworks moments, but that's
That's just to infuse the adventure, don't you think?
Well, those moments are honestly like, if you're just going to live for those moments that happen like once or twice a year at the most, it's like, what kind of life is that? It's really about appreciating in a genuine way and having so much
the now and the everyday.
Yeah, the everyday moments, you know,
Very
and being able to build your relationship on those. I mean, being or experiencing that wealth and that richness it's all in the stuff that, it's a cliche, but I think it's true. It's all in the stuff that money can't buy. Like,
Well,
how much stuff?
But you bought me that cute rose plant, and what I loved about that is it didn't have to do with an occasion.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
And that surprise did infuse a little, you know, like adventure or just something, you know,
A little sparkly
nice
there.
It was a nice surprise.
Yay.
And
good. That was my hope.
Gifts are part of your love language, like they are for me, having a rose plant was fantastic.
Aw, that makes me smile.
I love it.
I love that you love it. So it
And
really works.
I am just like hanging on and hoping I can keep her alive because
Oh, okay.
Because I think the mentality, okay, and this is not about what this podcast is about, but
okay.
I just have to say, I think the mentality sometimes when you buy cute plants, and if there's a cute little plant, right? I think the mentality is like, oh, they're not going to last.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Because
I totally,
because
I do know what you
it's
mean.
seasonal, or like the idea is that it's a seasonal plant, even if it's not necessarily a seasonal plant. And you just think, oh, okay, I'm just going to keep this and it's going to look cute, and then it's just going to die.
But let's not.
But for me, I'm like,
that.
well, this is a living thing. There's no reason it has to die. So I'm trying to, I kept a little thing about how to take care of it. I think it's getting enough sun or light, and been watering it, but not overwatering it.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on it and do our best.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the topic.
Okay. The feel good of raising your standards, because it does feel good to raise your standards when it's coming from a certain place. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about.
It does feel good, but sometimes I think the thing we have to remember is that it won't always feel good, and especially in the beginning.
Okay.
You will have those moments of, oh gosh, this is so uncomfortable. You know?
Yeah, it is. It really is that mind game.
Yeah.
And here's an example of it just from yesterday.
Okay.
So yesterday,
Let's hear it.
It was the end of the work day. It was a time for me to work out if I was going to work out that day. Okay. And I was kind of excited to do it, actually.
You love when it's workout time.
Not all the time.
I mean, I think in general, though, you're like, yay.
Not all the time. It's that mindset thing. So anyway, I looked at my printed paper of, okay, what's my workout today? And, it was like,
You
okay.
sound like a dinosaur.
My printed paper. I got out my app. I do both. I do different types of workouts. But anyway, today I'm actually getting more used to just doing my own programming and working off of just, okay, do this exercise for this much time, blah, blah. So I looked at it and I was like, okay, here we go. I'm going to do it, get into it. And it was a new workout for me. I started doing it and I had that psychological moment of, oh crap, this is going to be harder than I thought. It's going to require oh man, I'm going to need some additional fuel. I'm going to need to step up my effort in order to actually do it. So that's when I stopped, and that's when I came downstairs and you were like, I thought you were working out. And I said, yeah, but you know what? I realized I'm on an empty stomach. I'm going to need some carbs here to just fuel me, to help myself out take it seriously and really like put in more effort.
Okay.
Not just in the way of fuel, but in the way that I'm bringing myself in a spirit way, in my heart and soul, how I'm showing up for this workout. Like in order to actually do these 12 reps, I'm like, I'm going to need to step it up, and get my mind in the game.
Yeah.
And I had to make that mind shift. But after I did, it felt fantastic. Like it felt better than it would have felt if the workout required less of me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And going through the motions.
Yeah.
Just like,
and just like, okay, I did it. It's like, okay, yeah, you did it. But
I think sometimes we're driven to just cross something off the list.
yes, sometimes. I do know what you mean. I have experience on both ends of that. But I felt like that was a great example.
That is a great example.
Of the difference between distress and eustress. Because in our society, we tend to think of stress as being, oh, that's a bad thing. Like how to reduce your stress. But the nuance is that there's bad stress and there's good stress, right? Distress is like when you're freaking out and it's working against you. It's causing you to perform less than we are capable of. But eustress is the term for positive stress, and we actually need that in order to raise our standards and to have
stay strong.
And to have that feel good and to get stronger and to improve and get better and evolve. And that's the life force doing its positive evolutionary work.
I think you should spell eustress.
Eustress is spelled E-U stress.
Okay. That's kind of like the breathing guy, right? It's like if you jump into ice cold water without any training, then that's total distress. Because you're going to fight it, right? You're going to go like, oh my God.
You're going to die.
You're going to, just be still or you'll be flailing.
Right. The fight Yeah.
Fight or flight.
Or freeze. And in this case, you would freeze.
But
literally,
if you learn how to breathe correctly, if you condition yourself and just maybe jump in for like 5 seconds or whatever it might be and breathe and be with that stress, then you can come out of the other end feeling much stronger, oxygenated body.
If you've raised your standards,
your own bar.
Right? Raise your standards to be in harmony with a vital life force.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
So anyways, this whole topic came up as far as, hey, let's do this for the podcast because, sometimes we have those moments. Why are you making that face?
I'm listening very closely to what you're saying with a lot of interest.
You're looking.
That's my interested face.
Is that?
Yeah.
I don't know that face. Okay. Anyways, I think all of us of a certain age have probably had moments where you're just like, okay, wait, this is my life? And it's not coming from a place of necessarily hating your life, having it be that degree or being so unhappy, although it could, or just not being grateful for what all of us really have to feel grateful about. But just that feeling of like, where you feel a little dead and numb.
Just underwhelmed.
Yes.
Like the feeling of
like
being
you're
so
just
not impressed.
Yes, and you're just waking up and it just feels like Groundhog Day, right? It's like every day feels like the same day. Get up, go to work, come back, have dinner, watch a little TV, take a shower, go to bed. Wake up, go to work. It's like, just wait, is this my life? Like there are things we all want to do, have, and be that I think we're so conditioned to just shoving down. But it takes kind of unearthing those things, knowing that they have value, and then raising the bar on your life and your standards in order to
experience
some of those things. So it kind of reminded me, that song, we did that song a while back, that song our friend wrote. What is that song?
Friend wrote. At first I thought Please Believe, but then you said
No.
one that our friend wrote. I'm like, oh, okay, that's not it.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking. Okay, I know I know what it is.
Okay.
So the song is called Nobody Else.
Just inserting a quick programming note here. After we recorded this episode, we went and we found this song, Nobody Else, which we recorded and released way back in 2007 on an album called McKenna. And we recently re-released it. It is available on iTunes and Spotify. And here's a little excerpt.
Well, I know this ain't the life you planned on, left without a hope to stand on. Hard times just keep coming every day, and the work to do just keeps on growing. All the while I'm hardly knowing how I might keep going on my way.
And it's just, the lyrics of like, I know this ain't the life you planned on, left without a hope to stand on. I mean, it sounds very sad, but really the song is about being grateful that a person has stood by you.
Yes.
Through it all.
Yes.
And that just the standing by, the person standing with this other person. Sticking with you. It's like that action allows the hope in, for this.
Right.
It's like, wow, you stood by me. And so I think many of us have had that moment, or moments where you're like, wait, this isn't what I thought my life would be.
Right.
Or maybe parts of it are, but there might be parts of your life where like, I didn't think this part of my life would look this way.
Right.
Whether it has to do with money or how your relationship is, or, maybe kids, having kids or not having kids, maybe how your health is. Maybe you want to travel and you thought you'd have traveled a ton by now. Whatever it might be. It's like just, recognizing that discontent, which we've talked a lot about, really is something to pay attention to. And what paying attention to it involves is, part of it anyways, is raising the bar, raising the standard for yourself. And I think what's important to remember is that we're all unintentionally, for the most part, setting our standards by what we choose to allow in our lives, what we choose to accept
as normal.
I think
so much
a standard.
Yeah, I think so many times the standard is set for us by society, by the people around us in our lives, and we just accept it.
Right. That's true. And I think that can have a lot of power on us, or it can feel that way.
Yeah.
And so really just what feels like crawling out of those standards that were set for us, and then deciding for yourself, well, no, okay, what is my standard going to be? Because aside from the culture that we live in, so much of it first and foremost begins with the family we are raised in.
Right.
What was your standard growing up?
What is valued?
That was set by your parents or your caregivers.
Yeah.
Or
what counts as being impressive?
Right.
Right. Yeah. What are we going to choose to applaud or recognize?
Right.
Or demand?
And then as you continue to grow and experience life, then you really start to feel the cultural standards. And then that's put with the standards of your family. And then, so you have all these set points, these standard set points. And it's like, there comes time where you got to raise your own bar again.
Yeah. Or decide to shift it. I guess exactly.
What do you want?
Right.
Is this your standard or is this someone else's standard? And then to change it, because oftentimes we forget how much power we do have. How much personal power we do have in what we choose to allow in our lives, what we choose to do in our lives. And sometimes I think our natural stance is a reactive one. So we're reacting and just allowing things to be. And allowing things to be may not necessarily work for some of us.
Yeah, we get to a point where we don't want to be like that anymore.
Exactly. Like it works for a while, you know, because obviously it's been maintained, you know, for a period.
Yeah.
But
there's
then
some kind
it'll
of
stop
payoff.
working. Right. I mean, not it won't always stop working. If it's working for you, it's working for you. But if it stops working for you, then you'll definitely know and feel it.
Yeah.
And it's those feelings again when you're just like, wait, is this my life? It's like when those sneaky, it's kind of sometimes they sneak up on you, you know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it just pops into your head for a moment. I think a lot of times maybe even we won't even acknowledge that feeling. Just for the fact that we might feel so, you know, have the pressure of, you know, you should be thankful for what you have and be thankful. And yes. But it doesn't mean we should stop growing or wanting to change.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes.
You can be grateful and still feel dissatisfied.
Yes.
And do something about it.
Right.
So I think that's important.
To me, that's the art and the beauty of life. It's the being content in the present, but also discontent in the present. It's everything
totally.
Everything is always in motion, but not allowing the discontented aspect to steal your joy either, right? It's balancing that whole thing, and that's how I interpret. See, I'm going to get all Jesus on you, but
Jesus you.
He said, narrow is the way to life and few find it. He says, wide is the road to destruction and many go down that road, but narrow is the way to life and few find it. And that's the razor's edge.
Yeah.
Right. It's the balancing. It's that narrow intersection of acknowledging your discontent while also being able to rest in the contentedness.
Yeah.
It's
like strive satisfied. The strive satisfied thing.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting all philosophical here.
Yeah, in fact, yeah. So I was thinking about the it really is such a balancing act because I think that also too with the discontent or the dissatisfaction, there's such a gift in acknowledging it. I think so much of the time we don't want to acknowledge it.
Okay.
We don't, because we don't want to look at it. So then we're going to just watch, you know,
I think
4 seasons of The Crown in, you know, 1 week or whatever it is.
And I think that aspect is part of our cultural conditioning because society puts up these pictures in between the TV shows, right? Of these pictures of you could be happy and have a yacht and go to this beautiful resort and have this wonderful kind of life experience family. And that's what success is if you're happy like this, if you don't have
depiction.
A care in the world,
Yeah.
right? If it's everything's great and it's the happiest place on earth, that's success. Right, that's what's put before us, and it's given to us as like that's what success is, and it's up to us to say actually it's not. Right. Success also includes
what it
awareness.
is for us.
Yeah, success also includes awareness of what my next growth opportunity is, which inherently means dissatisfaction, and that's okay, man.
Right, and looking, and what I was going to say about the dissatisfaction and discontent is that the gift that those bring, when you're willing to look at it, is it will automatically, when you see what you don't want, you automatically begin to know what you would want by seeing what you don't want. And that's a great step because many people, I think, will claim that, oh, well, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. But I bet you know what you're not happy with. Right? And then if you look at what you're not happy with, there is something to mine there that will point to what you would be happy with. It might not be a complete, full, detailed picture, but it will show you the direction.
Yeah, it's a clue.
It's a clue.
Yeah.
And this whole thing, we just want to say, this whole thing of raising your standards, I mean, you don't just do it once. Like, you're going to keep doing it, because part of doing it has to do with just the next level of growth.
Yes, that's life.
And
we're
what you're ready
always
for.
growing. We're always changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, look, is this podcast going long? I don't think there's room for my health one.
Of course there's room.
Well, let me just shorten it. So I love health stuff. Like, I just, sounds like I'm going to talk long now because I said it like that, right? Anyways, I love all things having to do with holistic health. It inspired me to have my mercury amalgams taken out of my mouth. If anyone knows about this stuff, it's crazy, the process to protect yourself while having these things removed from your mouth. And I did a great job at the prep and having the support to prepare me, having the support during, and where I fell short was not having the prep after. And so because all of my organs were filled with mercury from having had amalgams, mercury amalgams, now that my body wasn't being assaulted by mercury in my teeth, my organs felt like, oh, okay, we can now release this in the body to process it. So basically what happened is I completely poisoned myself with mercury, and that started all kinds of other problems. So there was a point where, and one of the problems is hypothyroidism. So I was on 2 medications for hypothyroidism, and there was just a moment where I'm like, this is not me. I don't want to, like, I'm grateful for, I'm totally grateful for Western allopathic medicine. I feel like there's an absolute place for that. But I just truly felt like, hey, I've been trying all kinds of things. I need to raise a standard for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In terms of what I'm going to do to take care of my thyroid. And to help myself out, to heal,
right. To help do what I can to heal myself.
Yes. And it's not, it's not the most comfortable thing. It's like, there's a lot of things to do, but it's like, well, what do I value? I value my health, and I don't want to take medicine. Mm-hmm. So long term, I don't want to take medicine long term. So
in other words, I want to address the core
issue
of the symptoms, not just mask the symptoms.
Exactly. And so it took a lot of effort. I did a lot of research. It was just this whole thing. But anyways, started doing it. And in my recent blood work, my thyroid looked great. There was another thyroid test I needed to take that had to do with antibodies. And that is just 1 point away from being normal, and where it was 8 points higher last blood work. So I'm so grateful for that, but it took recognizing that, hey, I'm discontent here. I need a new standard for myself. Mm-hmm. And
it's that
then
whole
making the effort.
Being sick and tired of being sick and tired kind of thing, right? It's like, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore.
Exactly.
And we're doing something about it.
Exactly.
Yes. And I think that's a great example of how a healthy approach to exertion, because you had to exert yourself to make the dietary changes, mm-hmm. to have your food be medicine to heal your thyroid. Mm-hmm. It took a lot of...
And then also getting the right kind of zinc, the different supplements that help. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And arranging
iodine.
And arranging your schedule.
To take these things, right. Because empty stomach here with food here. It's like...
It's a lot. It's a lot of attentiveness.
Bear's here.
Hi, Bear. He's our cat. Okay, but yeah. I guess my point is that there's a lot of exertion you had to do mm-hmm. in order to raise your standards. That's inherent in raising your standards.
Right. And it didn't... And I will say that, yes, it's uncomfortable in the beginning because it is work,
Yes.
but I felt good doing good for myself.
Exactly. And that's the point I was getting at.
I know, I was helping you.
Oh, thank you. The ideal way, I think, of Bear wants to
He
cross
wants to go
my
in his-
path.
His
And
tail.
His
to
tail
my
is going in your
face.
mouth. Oh no. Bear wants to
Okay,
jump
go
up
ahead, Bear.
on the shelf there.
All right,
Okay, he's up there.
we're good now.
Okay.
The world stops for Mr. Bear.
Of course.
I'm going to
People
open
who
the...
have
Okay, you
pets
finish your thought.
understand.
I'm going to open the window for him because he wants to look outside.
Okay. So, here's the thing. This kind of exertion to achieve and to comply with the new standards that have been raised, this kind of exertion, I think, can come out of a healthy place or an unhealthy place. I think the exertion itself becomes confused. I think our society doesn't have enough distinction between unhealthy exertion and healthy exertion. In fact, I think our society just holds up this, achieve and accomplish, right? Be a go-getter and all that. It holds that up as the picture of quote unquote success,
Yeah.
without paying attention to the motivating force behind it. And I think on one hand, the motivating force can come from this healthy, vigorous, and vital harmony that we feel with the life force that's calling us to, hey, be healthier.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
because you are worthy of it. You are deserving.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. You are.
No, yeah.
You are
yes,
a child of
yes,
God.
Yes.
You are an expression of the evolution of life. And this call to be better and to exert yourself in the service of health, this eustress, that's fantastic. That's where the feel good comes from. It feels good to exert yourself from that place. But you can be doing what looks like the same kind of exertion and pushing yourself in discipline and, buckling down. And it can feel just the opposite.
Yeah.
It can feel really bad, even though it looks the same on the outside, but it can feel bad when you're doing this exertion with the motivation being, I want to feel worthy. I'm not
Yes.
gonna feel good about myself. I'm not gonna feel deserving until I fit into these jeans or whatever it is. So I'm just drawing the comparison. Thanks for laughing at what I'm saying.
Fit into the jeans is funny. Okay. Yes. So
I think that's huge. For me, that's huge.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I just thought
Thank
the
you.
jeans was funny. That's all. I think all
Okay.
your points were great.
Okay.
Great and valid.
As Bear's tail hangs down from the shelf.
Yes.
And it's twitching.
But I think an important point to make also is that, it's not just about recognizing that, hey, okay, I think I could raise my standards here.
Okay.
It's also recognizing that there are a whole ton of reasons why you might not do it.
Why you haven't raised your standards
Yeah,
yet.
you might be
kind of thing?
aware, but just like, And one of them, I think, is what you touched on, which might be just not feeling deserving. Another one could be the, just staying status quo is very comfortable,
Yes.
right? You know it. You know how to do it. It's
Yep.
like, okay, don't have to make much effort here.
It feels safe. It feels predictable. It feels like it's certain.
And that is a need for certainty. So it's like,
Yeah.
I can see why. It's not, you wouldn't necessarily say, oh, because you're just too lazy. That's not really it. I think it's just you want to be certain, And I think another is that keeps us from raising the bar is just the fear to hope.
Because if you hope, there's a chance that your
You could be
hopes
let
will
down.
be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a risk. There's a risk there.
Yeah.
So, but we're here to tell you today to just take a look and see if it's time for you to kind of do a standard check for yourself. And, maybe it's time to raise it. One of the things that is also important to note, and Toast was mentioning this with her jeans.
My jeans example?
Yeah. Is that, and I don't remember who I heard this from, who this quote is from. Someone quoted it from someone, so maybe I shouldn't say it, but no, I can just say it. Okay, but it's, you can't outperform your self-image. You can't outperform your self-image. So basically, the level of success, and we're not talking about the mainstream.
Superficial.
Yeah. The level of your success will only go as high as how you see yourself. What you feel deserving of. You can only receive that much. That makes total sense, So as you raise your standards, work on also knowing you deserve it.
Yeah.
So that you don't fall into that trap of, okay, I will deserve it once I fit into those jeans.
Yeah.
And one way you can do this is just spending 5 minutes in the morning, just 5. It doesn't have to be this whole practice. 5 minutes in the morning, just taking some really nice deep breaths with yourself and possibly tapping into a memory that you might have where you felt truly seen, where you felt affirmed, where you felt recognized. When you're seen, recognized, affirmed, you feel worthy. You feel that way. And so all of us can mine some memory, and if you can't, if you haven't created that for yourself or you haven't had something that feels like a standout, then you can go to a memory where you were loving something. So it might be a memory of you and your first pet, and just loving your pet, whatever it might be, but just soaking up that memory, going back to that time and allowing your cells, just imagining all of your cells filling with light and the light frequency of that time. 5 minutes.
And I also want to say too that it doesn't have to be a time where you were being recognized for an achievement.
Oh no,
in fact,
no.
Just the opposite.
I wasn't talking of it like that.
Yeah,
speaking of it like that.
It can be a time where you just felt acknowledged and loved, even after, despite after having made what you considered a mistake or something like that. Just being accepted for who you are as you are. That's it.
It's really just any memory where you felt seen,
and validated.
Because if you are an LGBTQIA listener, then
a rainbow listener,
our community is unique in the sense that we have carried this. There's just this low grade shame
imposed by society
that we have
history.
that we might not recognize as, oh, this is shame. We just by who we are, we have that. And so feeling deserving, there's an extra barrier there.
And I guess that's part of the benefit of like Pride festivals.
Yes, to see yourself.
It is affirming.
Totally.
It's like, thank you. Yes, thank you. And I'll just say privately for myself, I do a form of...
It's not that private.
I guess it's not that private if I'm putting it on the internet. I do a form of that practice of just sitting with and trying to absorb and get into alignment with this feeling of validation. Literally by just looking at my cup of tea or my cup of coffee, and recognizing and meditating on the fact that other living things, plants, in my case, have died so that I can continue living. Like there's this circle of life. There's a sacrifice that goes on.
So deep.
Well, it can sound morbid, but that is what I love.
I could totally see you doing that.
Yeah, what I love is that that's a fact. It's a scientific fact.
Yes.
That other living things are making sacrifices on the daily for us. And that's not to make us feel bad.
Oh,
it's to make us. It's to make
thinking
us
of the tea
feel,
leaves.
It's to make us feel reverence and respect and appreciation and to honor them, and to also step into our right to be here as living beings on this planet at this time. It's like we have a right to be here. Other things have paid the price so that we can be here and live our lives.
Yes. Well said.
Oh, I'm glad you think so. Can I share another dorky thing or geeky thing that has to do with this?
Sure.
Okay. So remember when we're talking about, well, why don't we raise the bar? And we just kind of sit back on the couch and eat our potato chips and be like, you just status quo is fine. That tendency towards human nature always reminds me of a certain place at the beginning or in the first half of the Declaration of Independence. And that's my geeky comment, because I just have to quote it. It says, here's from the Declaration of Independence, okay? All experience hath shewn that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. Which is the end of a long run-on sentence, which basically is saying, you know what? Our human nature will put up with a crappy situation just because we're used to it.
Yes.
We're just going to put up with these forms to which we are accustomed, even if they're frickin' evil. So,
thank you.
If you haven't raised your standards,
don't feel bad.
That's part of human nature. That's part of human nature. But equally a part of human nature is that part of you that says,
wants to grow.
Come on, brother.
Yeah.
Raise it up. Or sister.
Are we still recording?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, our computer just went off.
What's happening? We've been talking so long that the screensaver just went on. Okay.
Yeah, this is a long episode. Okay,
but
so
it's important.
If you hung in there,
yes,
thank you for listening. We so appreciate it. And don't forget that it's always just about progress. We're not all about perfection here.
It's walking that narrow road.
Yeah.
Progress, not perfection. Striving,
Amen,
but also
Jesus.
Satisfied.
Amen, Jesus. I love Jesus.
I'm not
against
great.
Jesus.
Yeah. No, just some of the people who claim to follow him. Damn that one.
It's just how Jesus. It's just about how people. Yeah, it's how people. Never mind. I'm not going to say it because.
Yeah. Well, I've heard
but
it
I
said.
love Jesus
I've heard
as
it said,
a man.
It's about.
You know what I mean?
It's about.
Jesus was a man.
Religion of Jesus versus the religion about Jesus, which are two different things. Okay. Anyway, we're going off on this episode.
Jesus was the example.
Yes.
He was not the exception. Whoo! Are we going to get backlash for that? That's what I believe, though.
Good. Yeah.
I do believe that.
I think I know what you're saying with that.
I love Jesus.
And probably if he's walking down the street and somebody said Jesus, he wouldn't even know they were talking about him. Because that's not even how you would pronounce his name. I think that's a Greek version of his name. Anyway. Okay. Progress, not perfection. Hope you enjoyed this podcast episode.
Yep.
And oh yeah, join our email list at siennaandtoast.com. And if you get something out of
Why
it,
are we not flowing now?
recommend it to
What
a
is
friend.
going on?
I think it's because we want to just keep talking about this
No,
subject.
I don't want to keep talking about the subject.
Okay.
I feel like we've gone on 20 minutes too long.
Okay, we need to
All
eat.
right.
Maybe we need
All
to
right.
eat something.
Okay, so thank you again for listening. As Toast mentioned, don't forget to join our email list. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with someone you know.
Rate and review.
Rate and review.
And until next time,
This is Sienna.
and this is Toast, always, as always, inviting you to come and live your love story.